have not been as badly affected here, but overall across the country, housing lost a lot of value. Now, this is a multi-trillion-dollar market, so there's no government program where we can just make sure that whoever's losing their home, that we can just pick up the tab and make sure that they can pay. And frankly, there's some people who really bought more home than they could afford, and they'd be better off renting, or they're going to have to make adjustments in terms of their house. What we have tried to do, though, is to make sure that people who have been making their payments regularly, who are meeting their responsibilities, if they could have a little bit of an adjustment with the banks, if some of the principal was reduced, if some of the interest was reduced on their mortgage payment, they could keep on making payments. The bank would be better off than if the home was foreclosed on. Obviously, they'd be better off. And as the housing market starts picking back up again, which it will do over time, although not in the same trajectory as it used to, right? It's going to be much more gradual. Then potentially the bank could recoup some of the money that it had lost by making the adjustments on the mortgages. So we've set up a number of these mortgage modification programs that are out there. But I don't want to lie to you. We've probably had hundreds of thousands of people who have been helped by it. I think there have been a couple of million who've applied. But that doesn't meet the entire need because this is such a huge housing market. And what really is probably the most important thing I can do right now to keep people in their homes is to make sure the economy is growing so that they don't feel job insecurity. That's probably the thing that's going to strengthen the housing market the most over the next couple of years. If we've got a growing economy, unemployment is gradually being reduced, then people are going to feel more confident. They're going to be able to make their mortgage payments. New homeowners, people who are potentially buyers of homes, are going to say, you know what, I don't mind entering the market because I think things have sort of bottomed out. That starts lifting prices, and that gets us on a virtuous cycle instead of a negative cycle. But it's going to take some time. We're working our way out of overbuilding in the housing market, a lot of not very sensible financial arrangements in the housing market, and we've got to get back to sort of a traditional, more common sense way of thinking about housing, which is, if you want a house, you got to save for a while. You got to wait till you have 20% down. You should go for a mortgage that you can afford. There shouldn't be any surprises out there, right? That kind of traditional thinking about saving and thinking about the house not as something that is always going up 20% every year and you're going to flip and take out home equity loans and all that. We've got to have a different attitude, which reflects what you talked about, more of an attitude that this is your home. This is not just a way to make quick money. Okay. Yes, sir. I know it's a little warm in here, by the way, but...
You're right, Mr. President. It is a little warm, but it's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah, I want to thank you again, Mr. President, for coming to Albuquerque, New
Thank
Mexico. I have several questions to ask you. I'll make them short and brief. I am one of those persons that has been helped by that modification program on my house. And I want to say thank you because it has helped my family, and I'm one of the persons that has helped. And I want to say thank you.
That's great. I appreciate that.
It has helped me and my family.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, and it has helped several. It's helped my family. I just don't know how to say thank you. Second question. We can't always depend on government to help us as far as education is concerned. I do thank you. My wife is a teacher in an elementary school, but it all has to start at home. We as parents have to educate our children on how to get educated. It starts at home. And I want to thank you for everything you've done for public education. Thank you again. But we all have to understand it kind of starts at home as parents. And the last question is, Mr. Obama, I am a president of the board of a weatherization program here in New Mexico. And I heard you did the same thing in Chicago. And I thank you. It's a nonprofit organization that has helped a lot of New Mexicans here in New Mexico. Central New Mexico Housing Corporation is a nonprofit organization helping lower income people with their homes. For example, you had mentioned that a lot of people can't afford to upgrade their homes, things that they need. well, we are able to provide assistance through Washington, state of New Mexico, and some other agencies to provide free assistance for a lot of elderly or people who are meet certain criteria. So I want to say thank you again for that weatherization program. It has helped a lot of New Mexicans, as myself, as mortgage modification, as a personal friend of yours. I want to say thank you because it has helped my family.
I appreciate that. That's
it has helped me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And people sometimes ask, well, how, boy, you're working pretty hard and got all these issues coming at you, and how do you sort of stay focused and sane? It's hearing stories like yours where if we did something that actually helps a family stay in their home, or you meet a mom who says, my kids now getting health insurance and they weren't getting it before, you feel a great satisfaction. I know Diane and Congressman and Bill, all feel the same way about it. So it's great to hear. Let me just say something about the weatherization issue, which I think is so important. We've got to change how we use energy in this country.
Yes, sir.
And I know that Bill's been committed to this. Diane's committed to continuing this enormous progress. New Mexico's been at the forefront in thinking about solar and wind. One of the most important things that we can do is something that doesn't require all kinds of new technology, doesn't require huge, fancy investments. It's just making our buildings, our homes, our schools, our hospitals more energy efficient. Putting up insulation, getting new windows, caulking, getting a new energy efficient HVAC system. These things, if we did it across the board, across the country, it could not only drastically reduce people's electricity bills, drastically reduce their heating bills, their air conditioning bills, their gas bills, it could also go about a third of the way in solving the problems of climate change and the pollution that is causing the temperatures around the globe to get warmer. So it's an environmental win, and it's a pocketbook win. And it creates businesses, because you can have a whole bunch of mom and pop, HVAC companies who suddenly they're out there getting business, retrofitting homes to make them energy efficient. And small businesses can grow into larger businesses, can grow into bigger businesses. I met a business in Seattle, Washington, that started off as a small mom and pop plumbing operation. And they now have 1,000 employees, and they're ranked as one of the top 10 companies to work for in the state of Washington. They've got unionized tradesmen working alongside computer experts who diagram how the entire energy system of a school or a hospital works, and then they go in there and they redo it soup to nuts. Now, we made a huge investment in the Recovery Act on this issue of clean energy and weatherization. But this is, again, an example of where there's just a strong difference between the two parties. The other side, they really have not shown much of an interest in promoting this. And the irony is that you can actually get your money back on this. See, a lot of homeowners would love to do it. They'd get their money back over time. It would pay for itself, but if you don't have $5,000 up front to do it, you can't do it, even though you'd get the $5,000 back over the course of 5 years. So a lot of these programs are designed to say, we're just going to give you a loan up front so that you can go ahead and do it, and as you then recoup your money, you can pay some of it back. It is something that is smart to do. We're seeing states start to implement it, but we've got to, I think, keep on pushing harder. The more we do this, the more efficient our economy as a whole is going to be, and that's going to mean more growth and more jobs in the future. So, and by the way, last point I'll make, I can't agree with you enough about the parent thing. I was on an interview with Matt Lauer yesterday, and they asked me about parents. I said, look, Malia and Sasha, as wonderful as they are great students, but if Michelle and I weren't supervising them, they'd come home, they'd turn on the TV, they'd watch TV all night, or be on their computers, or talking to their friends, right? So even in the White House, the key ingredient is parenting, and just making sure your kids are focused on school. Teachers can help, but parents, they've got to get those kids started in the right direction. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, right here.
Hello, Mr. President. Thank you for coming to the South Valley.
Yeah, it's great to
really
be here.
A great opportunity, and I thank the Cavalier family for, inviting me and my husband. I have 3 questions, and they're kind of hot topic questions, and I'll just...
All 3 of them?
All 3 of them.
You didn't slip in like a sort of a easy, boring one in there with a...
No.
All right, let's hear
One of them is basically... Mother Teresa answered it in an article, and I was going to ask you the same because I loved her answer. The first one is, why are you a Christian? Second one is, there's really no laws about the abortion law and when a woman can and can't have an abortion, whether it's 2 months or 8 months. And what is your view on that? And the third one, it is a hot topic, but it's literally a hot topic. And it's about my husband's chili peppers. And that was my question. Would you please take some chili peppers home with you?
I will.
When's a habanero?
I will definitely check out these chili peppers. I like spicy food. To go with your spicy questions.
Spicy.
I'm a Christian by choice. My family didn't. Frankly, they weren't folks who went to church every week. My mother was one of the most spiritual people I knew, but she didn't raise me in the church. So I came to my Christian faith later in life, and it was because the precepts of Jesus Christ spoke to me in terms of the kind of life that I would want to lead, being my brothers and sisters' keeper, treating others as they would treat me, and I think also understanding that. That Jesus Christ dying for my sins spoke to the humility we all have to have as human beings, that we're sinful and we're flawed and we make mistakes, and that we achieve salvation through the grace of God. But what we can do, as flawed as we are, is still see God in other people and do our best to help them